Hare Krishna. We welcome all of our viewers on YouTube Live and Facebook Live. We welcome each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining us in session 13 of the Sri Bhagavatamrita. So we will start with the recitation of prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्घ्रे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Aradhya Bhagavan Vrajeshu Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Vakalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatra Dharana Paraha Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Jaya Pataka Swami Niti Namine Namo Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaura Katha Thamadaya Nagara Grama Tarine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham karoti vachalam pangurlangayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurung Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So again, we welcome all of you, all of our YouTube live listeners, all of our Facebook live listeners. We welcome each and every one of you. So before we start our session, we would like to acknowledge all the devotees who participated in yesterday's quiz. We thank each and every one of you for participating. We have 7 participants over Facebook Live. From Facebook, we have Meena Mataji, Supriya Mataji, Shama Supriya Mataji, Divyangi Lalita, Barsana Chitra Mataji, Reena Mataji, Shweta Surya Narayanan Mataji, and Janeshwar Gauranga Prabhu. So we thank all of you for participating. And from YouTube Live, we have 8 devotees. Sarita Perla from Seattle. Thank you so much, Mataji. Diti Mataji, Nirguna Janava Mataji, all the way from India. Thank you. Divyangi Lalita Mataji and Prem Vikas Prabhu. Thank you. And we have Jaipal Prabhu, Reena Kamath, Mataji, Shamala Gopika, and Shama Supriya. So we thank each and every one of you for participating in the quiz yesterday and giving us your answers. All of you have given very wonderful answers. So thank you all so much. So today we are going to cover, we're going to cover from chapter 11 to chapter 16 today. It's going to be a little, hopefully it won't be too challenging, but it's a very, very interesting, this third canto, very interesting canto, the status quo. So chapter 11 is the calculation of time from the atom. It is said here in this chapter that before beginning to describe, chapter 10 concludes that Maitreya Muni is saying that now I'm going to talk to you about the descendants of Manu and how the creation took place. But Maitreya Muni starts this chapter by saying that before describing the descendants of Manu, Maitreya Muni continues his description of time by defining it so that it can be measured within space. He says that everything in this material world is actually within time and space. It's calculated by time and space. Say, for example, we say, okay, there's going to be a program. Our next question is, what time and where? So everything is defined by time and space in this material world. We see that, in the early 1800s, actually, the atom or the Paramanu was discovered by John Dalton. Whereas we see here in this particular chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, this was just compiled by Vyasadeva 5,000 years ago. But the knowledge of this Srimad Bhagavatam is eternal. So they're talking about Paramanu, about the atom from time immemorial. So this Srimad Bhagavatam is not actually a scientific text. It's not a science text. It's not any kind of, what we are dealing with chemistry or anything of that sort. We are not doing that. But even then, it has the description of the atom because it is related to kala or time. You see, everything in this material world is on the basis of these two elements, time and space. So space is defined as atom. The space between two atoms, that is the space. So it is said here in this chapter that the Paramanu or the atom, and he describes the time, the basic unit of time, as the amount of time that it takes for one atom to combine into 6. A lot of, calculations are given here in this particular chapter. And Maitreya Muni, he's building from that basic unit. He describes time units comparable to seconds, to hours, to weeks, to months, and then finally to years. And as time units that measures the orbits of the different planetary systems. Everything is described here in detail in this particular chapter. Till about text 15, this is being described in this chapter. Then Vidura, then he requests Maitreya Muni to describe the duration of life of residents of higher planets, that who are beyond the range of the destruction at the end of Brahma's day. What is the duration of life for them? So Maitreya Muni describes the length of the time of the yugas, the days and nights of Brahma, the lifespans of Manus, different Manus, and the different daytime and the nighttime of Brahma. So all of this in detail has already been described yesterday and also in previous week's session. So we will not go into that much detail. But till around text 38 of this chapter, if you want to know more details, then we suggest that from text 2 to text 38, you can read for a detailed description of how time relates to in this material world and also in the higher planetary systems. Very vivid description is there. So this is again till text 38 of this chapter. So although Maitreya Muni continues that although no one in bodily consciousness escapes the destructive force of time, it is, we should understand that time is under the control of the Supreme Lord. Time exists only in this material world. It is, it acts upon the will of the Lord. And in the spiritual world, time is conspicuous by its absence. Time is not prevalent. Whenever Krishna wants that it should be daylight, it is daylight. When Krishna wants to be, sundown, there should be evening time, it is dusk and evening. So by the will of the Lord, time changes in the spiritual world. It is present there, but it is subservient to the will of the Lord in the spiritual world. But here, time controls us in the material world. That time, we are bound by time. Like right now, our timeline is reading 8:06. As soon as the clock strikes 8:07 p.m., 15th of April, that 8:06 is never going to come back. 15th of April 2020, 8:06 p.m. is never going to come back in this lifetime. We've lost that moment. So that's how much controlled we are by time here in this particular material world. So, how, Brahma's days, Brahma's nights are all described in vivid descriptions are given here in this particular chapter. So if anyone is interested in getting more details, please do read till text 38 of this particular chapter. So this concludes the 11th chapter. We move on to chapter 12, which is the creation of the Kumaras and others. So Maitreya Muni continues to have his talk and discussion with Vidura. So in the beginning, Maitreya Muni says that Brahma created 4 great sages named Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumaras. They are called as the Manas Putras, or the sons whom the Lord Brahma manifested from his mind. And Brahma then requested the 4 Kumaras to create progeny, but because of their attachment to Lord Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they refused. They said that no, we are very much interested just in penance. And when, Brahma, as the creator, when he created them as progeny, he had a specific purpose in mind for them. And when they rejected Brahma's offer and his request and his proposal, Brahma got a little annoyed. He got a little angry. And when we get angry, what do? We literally, we curl our eyebrows. And at that time, Brahma said, "Oh, you are not going to listen to me." And then he curled his eyebrows, and from the center of his eyebrows shot out a personality. And he came out crying. And Brahma gave him the name Rudra. Now, a very interesting thing comes here, that does this mean that therefore Lord Shiva, who is none other than Rudra, that he is the son of Lord Brahma? Lord Brahma himself clarifies this in the Brahma Samhita. He says that Kshiram yatha dadi vikara vishesha yoga sanjayate nahi tatha pritakashti heto yashambhutam api tata samupaiti karyad govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Lord Brahma himself is clarifying the position of Lord Shiva. He's saying that Lord Shiva is considered to be just like yogurt. Yogurt is nothing but transformed milk. Nonetheless, yogurt cannot be accepted as milk. Similarly, Lord Shiva holds almost all the powers of Lord Vishnu. He's very similar to Lord Vishnu, and he is also above the qualities of all the living entities. But he is not exactly like Lord Vishnu. Just as yogurt, although transformed milk, is not exactly milk. So just like when we want to make yogurt from milk, we just tinge it with a little bit of lime. So like that, when Lord Shiva comes in touch with the material modes, that special living entity of Lord Shiva is, Lord Vishnu himself. When he comes in touch with this material mode, appears to be as Lord Shiva. That is how Lord Brahma clarifies the position of Lord Shiva. So, just like how, Lord Shiva appeared from the eyebrow of Lord Brahma, we'll see in a little while how Varahadev appears from the nostril of Lord Brahma, or Lord Nrsingadev appears from the pillar. That doesn't make the pillar, or the nose of Lord Brahma to be like the father of Lord Varahadev or Lord Nrsingadev, like that. So similarly, we should not mistake that, we should understand what is the actual position of Lord Shiva. He is Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. He's very special. He's not a Jiva Tattva. Lord Shiva is a unique, he's the one unique personality in this entire creation, and that is Lord Shiva. He is marginal, he is the marginal energy, like that. So he's very, very special. Lord Shiva is very special. So Brahma, we'll continue. Brahma, who was empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead for creating progeny, he thought of generating living entities, and he, after the four Kumaras, after they rejected, then after that, he begot 10 sons for the extension of generations. It is said that the 10 sons of Lord Brahma were Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulatsya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhrigu, Vashishtha, Daksha, and the 10th son was the glorious Narada. So gradually, Lord Brahma, he told these 10 sons also to please, go ahead and create progeny. And all 10 of them, they said, no, we are not interested in family life. So we are going away, for our dhyana. Some went to dhyana yoga, some went to, into the forest. They just said, no, we are going to perfect our lives in this way. We are not going to go into all this progeny and creation. Sorry. So then gradually Lord Brahma, he was feeling, oh, what am I going to do now? So then he then started, for the well-being of the coming living entities, the forthcoming living entities, Lord Brahma, then it is said that he manifested the 4 Vedas, the Rig, Sama, Yajur, Atharva Vedas, then the 18 Puranas, the 108 Upanishads, the Ayurveda, the Vimana Shastra, and all of these different categories of knowledge. Veda basically means knowledge. So all kinds of knowledge was manifested from Lord Brahma himself. And at this particular time, he also created Swayambhuva Manu, the first original Manu, and his consort Shatarupa Devi. And from them, he told them that now would you at least, take care of progeny? And they very loyally, as the son and daughter of Brahma, they agreed to create progeny. Now, it doesn't mean that they were brother, sister. Please don't understand it that way. Again, because they come from Lord Brahma, it's not that Brahma was their father, in that sense. So Manu and Shatarupa, they were the first living entities, mankind, coming from them. And it is said, the chapter concludes by saying that from Shatarupa, Manu begot 5 children, 2 sons. One of them was Priyavrata and the other was Uttanapada. And 3 daughters who were Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. And the father, which is Swayambhuva Manu, he handed over his first daughter Akuti to the great sage Ruchi, and his daughter Devahuti to the sage Kardama, and the youngest Prasuti to Daksha. And from them, all the world filled with population. So this is how he concludes, Maitreya Muni concludes chapter 12. Now, the beginning of chapter 13 has a very interesting twist. The twist is, the chapter is entitled The Appearance of Lord Varaha. So this chapter, actually, I'm going to start this chapter, what is there in the conclusion of this chapter, we will start this chapter with. This chapter, chapter 13, in verse in the text 48, in verse 48 of this particular chapter, it is said that if one hears and describes in a devotional service attitude this auspicious narration of Lord Varaha, which is worthy of description, the Lord, who is within the heart of everyone, is very pleased. So let us hear with rapt attention and love regarding this beautiful appearance of Lord Varahadev. So that is why I thought that it would be very appropriate for us to know what is the falastuti, or what is the result that we can get from listening to this glorious chapter, so we can listen to it with some attention. So this chapter, Vidura starts this chapter by asking a very sincere question to Maitreya Muni, that what happened? Like Vidura understood that, Brahma begot the 10 sons, and of course the 4 Kumaras before that. Then he created or manifested all the Vedas and all the, knowledge books. He manifested everything, all the scriptures. But then when Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa, when they appeared from Brahma, Vidura asked, what did they actually do? So Maitreya replied that Lord Brahma was actually very pleased that Swayambhuva Manu agreed to follow the instructions of his father and create progeny. So Manu asked Lord Brahma that, my dear father, where do you want me to go? Which place do you want me to go? And where do you want me to create the progeny? Where do you want me to go and, start the process of creation? And that's when Brahma and all the, devatas, they noticed that Mother Earth was sinking in the Garbhodaka ocean. And at that time, Lord Brahma got a little bewildered. It is mentioned here in this verse, that in this chapter, that, oh, I may have got too involved in this process of creation that I didn't even notice that Bhumi actually fell into this Garbhodaka ocean. Oh, what to do? How can she be lifted up? And just at that very moment, reciprocating with the anxiety of Lord Brahma, the Supreme Lord appeared in the form of a boar from his left nostril, from Lord Brahma's left nostril. But as soon as he appeared, when he appeared, it is stated that he was the size of a thumb when he came out of Brahma's nose. But as soon as he came out, he immediately assumed this gigantic, majestic form of Sri Varahadev. He was a little boar when he came out, but immediately he became gigantic as soon as he came into the external place. And all the devatas were glorifying this transcendental form of Lord Varaha. And Lord Varaha was, in his magnanimity, he was flying all over the sky. And then he noticed that the earth was sinking into the Garbhodaka ocean, and he just dived into the Garbhodaka ocean. And it is explained that when the Lord dived in, with such pressure he dived in, the ocean actually was divided into two, 2 parts. And there was tsunami of waves that was created. And at that moment, the Lord entered into the waters of the Garbhodaka oceans, and with his transcendental tusks, he just lifted Bhumi Devi and he brought out Mother Earth. And it is just mentioned in one line that he then killed the demon Hiranyaksha. And no other detail is given in this particular chapter, which means that the details of the killing of Hiranyaksha and who is Hiranyaksha and why did the Lord actually kill him is going to be revealed subsequently. That is the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we request you to all please stay tuned to hear more about the qualities and how the Lord actually killed Hiranyaksha, which will be in subsequent chapters. So it is said that after the Lord killed Hiranyaksha and saved Mother Earth, all the devatas and all the rishis, the munis, the yogis, everyone, they started showering flowers on the Lord. They started glorifying the form of the Lord, that, my dear Lord, you came and you saved Mother Earth. And they worshipped him in this way. And text 49 which is the conclusion of this particular chapter. It's a very important verse, text 49 in this chapter. It says that nothing remains achieved when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with, nothing remains unachieved. Nothing remains unachieved when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with someone. By transcendental achievement, one understands everything else to be insignificant. One who engages in the transcendental loving service is elevated to the highest perfectional stage by the Lord Himself, who is seated in everyone's heart. So this is the final benediction that Maitreya Muni is saying, that this is what happens when we listen to Bhagavad Katha. That the Lord Himself drags us out of our ignorance, out of our passion, out of our goodness, and establishes us in transcendence. That is the mercy of the Bhagavata. That is the mercy of the Srimad Bhagavatam Katha. How glorious these kathas are. That is how, that nothing remains unachievable when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with somebody. Such a powerful statement the Lord is making. Maitreya Muni is making here. Such a powerful statement. So, seeking shelter of the Lord, we move on to chapter 14, where the pregnancy of Diti in the evening is being described. So, questions are arising in our mind, right? That Vidura actually asks this question in the very beginning of this chapter. What is the question that is coming in our mind? That what was the reason why Varahadev was fighting with Hiranyaksha, with this demon? Vidura is saying that my mind has become very inquisitive, and therefore I'm not satisfied with hearing the narration of the Lord's appearance. All of us are feeling the same way. That's exactly what Vidura is saying in the beginning of this chapter. That, my dear Maitreya Muni, you just gave me a little touch and you left me. You have to give me more details. I am not satisfied. Please, therefore, speak more and more to a devotee who is faithful. So Maitreya Muni, becoming very pleased with the eagerness with which Vidura wanted to hear the pastimes of the Lord, started narrating the following pastime. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, it's very interesting that how, a statement is made, then a history is given to, talk about that particular statement. So how did that entire thing actually happen? So we go now to the story. So text 8 of this particular chapter says that Diti, one of the daughters of Daksha, being afflicted with sex desire, begged her husband Kashyapa, the son of Marichi, to have intercourse with her in the evening in order to beget a child. The sun was setting and the sage was sitting in trance after offering oblations to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The great sage Kashyapa first actually tried to pacify his devoted wife with very pleasing words by glorifying the position of a faithful wife. He says that, O respectful one, a wife is so helpful that she is called the better half of a man's body. This is actual verse text 19, how Kashyapa Muni is talking to his wife Diti. And he says that a wife is so helpful that she is called as the better half of a man's body because of her sharing in all auspicious activities. She's called as Ardhangini. A man can move without anxiety, entrusting all responsibility to his wife. And Kashyapa Muni, in this way, he went on to explain to Diti that this particular time that you have come here, you are my wife. I care for you. And whatever you ask for, it is my duty as your husband to provide for you. But the time that you're asking for is not very auspicious. This time, the sun is setting, it is dusk, it is Sandhya Vela. There are three sandhyas. When the night goes and the day comes, that is called, the early morning. when the sun is rising. The night is going and the morning is coming in. Then the afternoon sandhya is when the morning goes and the afternoon time comes. That is the madhyana. And then comes the sandhya where the afternoon is going and the night is coming. So this sandhya, amongst the three sandhyas, this particular sandhya, when the sun is setting, is considered to be very inauspicious in the sense that we should not sleep during this time. It is said we should not engage in any kind of intimate association during this time, and we should rather, therefore, Srila Prabhupada very, very beautifully engaged all of us during this time that we should actually engage in the arati of the Lord by singing Gora Arati and singing Tulasi Arati and singing Nrsimha prayer. So our Sandhya Vela is actually dedicated in direct devotional service to the Lord. So he went on, Kashyapa Muni went on to explain to Diti that this particular time is not auspicious at all. But Diti, she was pressed by the arrows of Cupid. And by the will of providence, she continued to persevere. And Kashyapa Muni had to oblige and engage in the forbidden act. Actually, this word forbidden act is there as it is in text 31 of this chapter. The question may arise that, is therefore, the Bhagavatam saying that the sexual act itself is forbidden? The answer is no. However, there are certain rules and regulations that come with there are certain rules and regulations that come when we are given certain license for something. Just like when we get a driver's license, we pass the test, both written and practical, and therefore we are expected to know and abide by the traffic guidelines. If we break any rules of traffic, the cops will give us a ticket. So when we get license, it is followed by rules and also by responsibility. So similarly, we may engage in intimate acts, but it must be with one's married spouses. And there are general guidelines of not being intimate on auspicious days or auspicious muhurtas. We should not be intimate. General guidelines are given, like on auspicious appearance days of different personalities, like Janmashtami, Gaur Purnima, Nrsimha Chaturdashi, or any appearance day of any acharyas, or on Ekadashis. Because these are the days where we are meant to do extra devotional service. And then when we engage in an intimate act with our spouses, then we can beget, by the process of the Garbhadhan Samskara, we can then beget Krishna conscious children. So that is there. It's not a forbidden act when it is done in the proper way at the proper time. And even during the Sandhya Vela, during the time of dusk, we should not engage in intimate activities. So these are the verdicts and these are the timings that are given. So we should follow the rules. When we have the license, it doesn't mean that we are free to do whatever we want to do. We should be careful that with license, we also have responsibilities. So, however, since Diti forced Kashyapa Muni, even though he tried to get out of it, he had to finally oblige to the wife. However, it is explained that after the act of being intimate, Diti was feeling very, very afraid that she had not only offended her husband, the time of the Sandhya, where the presiding devatas reside during that time, she had offended the presiding deities of that particular time, and she had definitely offended her husband, Kashyapa Muni. So in text 38, Kashyapa Muni told Diti, very harshly, he told her, that because of your mind being polluted, because of defilement of the particular time, because of your negligence of my directions, and because of your being apathetic to the Devatas, everything was inauspicious. Because the time was not auspicious, you will have two demons as your sons. They will trouble the world and its people. In text 41, Kashyapa said, at that time, the Lord of the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the well-wisher of all living entities, will descend and kill them. He directly tells this to Diti. Imagine what would be Diti's condition. That she is feeling very guilty, that somehow she was overcome by this lust and she had to engage in this kind of activity. But then her husband is chastising her and literally saying that your children will be killed. In text 41, by the Supreme Lord, your children will be killed. But how does Diti respond to it? Diti says in text 42, Diti says, it is very good that my sons will be magnanimously killed by the arms of the personality of Godhead with his Sudarshan weapon. O my husband, may they never be killed by the wrath of the Brahmana devotees. This is what she says in text 42. Why does she say this? Why does Diti says, being a mother, how can she be happy that her sons will be killed? Because she came to know that her sons are going to be killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. And not by the anger of the Brahmanas, because she knows that if her sons are killed by the Lord himself, then they will be liberated. But if they are killed by the anger of the devotees, then even the Lord cannot save them. Because if a devotee is offended, then the Lord will definitely take offense. Then Diti would be miserable, because if devotees are offended, then there is no hope for any kind of salvation of such a person. What kind of mind frame Diti was in to be able to, accept this and say this to her husband. So seeing this grateful attitude of his wife Diti, Kashyapa Muni was very pleased, and he responded to her in text 44 and 45. He says, because of your lamentation and your penitence and proper deliberation, and also because of your unflinching faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and your adoration of me, one of the sons of your son Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad, will be an approved devotee of the Lord, and his fame will be broadcast equally with that of the personality of Godhead. What a wonderful benediction. So hearing this, text 51, a very, very important verse, hearing that Diti's grandson, her grandson, would be a great devotee of the Lord, and that her sons would be killed by Krishna himself, Diti was highly pleased in her mind. So we can see, we can understand that how everything that the Lord does has a very specific purpose. Diti did not lament. She did not, say, oh, why did I do that? Why did I engage in that kind of activity? She did not lament in her past. Rather, she saw the future, the bright future of her upcoming grandson, of a pure devotee. She started living in her future of her pure devotee grandson who would come and liberate 21 generations. Everyone would be liberated by the coming of that one grandson who would be a pure devotee. So just by remembering that fact, Diti was highly pleased and satisfied in her mind. That is how devotees respond. It is not that devotees don't undergo any kind of setbacks in their life. They do. Lot of setbacks are there in a devotee's life. But they don't look back and just keep lamenting on their past. But rather, they see this with a grateful heart. And they envision their service in the future. That is how a pure devotee reacts. And that is how the Lord is pleased and he reciprocates with such devotees. So with this, we come to chapter 15, which is the beautiful description of the kingdom of God. So this chapter actually goes into another history. As we were describing, that Srimad Bhagavatam is a story. So Srimad Bhagavatam is actually not just a story with one storyline. It's actually a story within a story, within a story, within a story. That's how Srimad Bhagavatam is. And that's the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam. How we started today and where we are coming now. You see, this chapter starts with the Devatas when they are approaching Lord Brahma, that when they could not tolerate the heat coming from the womb of Diti, and Maitreya Muni tells Vidura that seeing the condition of the Devatas, Lord Brahma started narrating how his four Manas Putras, Sanak, Sanatan, Sanandan, and Sanat Kumaras, they would travel actually everywhere, both in the material worlds, and they would also travel in the, the Brahma Jyoti effulgence of the Lord. And one time they came to the Vaikuntha planet of the Lord. And the four boys, they actually chose not to grow beyond the age of 5. And it is said that these four boys would look so divine that they would wear only the garments that are made of air. That's the word that is used, statement that is made. That they would wear garments made of air, which means they would be unclothed. Tiny boys, 4 boys of 5 years of age. And they would travel all over in this way. So Maitreya Muni is saying to Vidura that the Devatas, they could not tolerate the heat coming from the womb of Diti. And they approached Lord Brahma that, what is this heat? And Lord Brahma started describing that, yes, I will tell you what is this heat and where is this heat coming from. Then Lord Brahma, he describes how his 4 sons came to the gates of Vaikuntha one time. And Lord Brahma at that time, he describes the beauty of Vaikuntha, how there are kalpa vrikshas, desire trees, there's touchstone, there is chintamani, the residents, they roam around in celestial plains. Everyone looks like Lord Vishnu, 4-handed, beautiful, fragrant flowers in every tree. There are transcendental fruit, trees, with juicy fruits. The inhabitants of Vaikuntha travel in their airplanes, which are made out of lapis lazuli and emerald and gold. The ladies in the Vaikuntha planets are as beautiful as the goddess of fortune herself. Such transcendentally beautiful ladies, their hands are playing with lotuses and they have beautiful tinkling anklets in their lotus feet. And text 27 says, of this chapter says, that after passing through the 6 entrances of the Vaikuntha planet, the Lord's residence, without feeling astonishment at all the decorations, the 4 Kumaras saw at the 7th gate 2 shining beings of the same age, armed with maces and adorned with most valuable jewelry, earrings, diamonds, helmets, garments, etc. And as soon as the 4 boys came up to the 2 guards, these effulgent personalities, at that time the 2 guards said, "Hey, stop! Who are you? You're 4 little boys. What is your, where is your passport to enter into Vaikuntha? Who are you? Why are you boys are not allowed in here?" And as soon as, they were denied entrance, then the 4 Kumaras got so angry. They said, "You don't know who we are? We are, we may look like this, but we are yogis. And we have come to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead." And, they got so angry and they said that you don't deserve to be the gatekeepers of this Vaikuntha planet. You are acted like demons. So therefore we curse you that you should leave this place and you should go down to the material world. We curse you. And as soon as these words came out of the mouth of the 4 Kumaras, immediately text 40 describes that immediately the Lord, understanding that the 4 Kumaras were at the gate and they spoke in this way, the Lord immediately appeared there. And it is said, described the bodily features of the Lord when he walked and when he appeared in front of the 4 Kumaras, how he looked, that the Lord shone brightly, the yellow cloth that he was covering his large hips. He wore a beautiful garland of fresh forest flowers, which was distinguished by humming bees. His lovely wrists were graced with bracelets, and he rested one of his hands on the shoulder of Garuda, his eagle carrier, and he twirled a lotus with another hand. So beautiful, elegantly, Lord Narayan, Lord Vishnu, he's coming. And it is said that the Lord wore alligator shaped pendants on his ears, and he was looking so beautiful. And when the four Kumaras saw this, text 43 describes that this is the verse that transformed the four Kumaras. Text 43 says that when the breeze carrying the aroma of the tulasi leaves from the toes of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead entered the nostrils of the great sages, they experienced a change both in body and mind, even though they were attached to the impersonal understanding. And the chapter is concluding by the Kumaras then glorifying the Supreme Lord. So then, how beautifully, the four Kumaras who were attached to the impersonal Brahma, they were Brahmavadis, but just by smelling the tulasi leaves at the lotus feet of Lord Narayan, they became pure devotees, pure prema bhaktas. This brings us to chapter 16, the two doorkeepers of Vaikuntha, Jaya and Vijaya, cursed by the sages. The personality of Godhead, it starts by Lord Narayan himself speaking. Actually, this particular scene where the four Kumaras are smelling the tulasi leaf from the lotus feet of Lord Narayan is a personal, very favorite picture of mine. I will share it in the WhatsApp group very soon, so you all can take darshan of that, the transformation point, which this particular text 43 was talking about. So it brings us to chapter 16, where the Supreme Lord is saying that these attendants of mine, Jaya and Vijaya by name, have committed a great offense against you because of ignoring me. To me, the Brahmana is the highest and most beloved personality. The disrespect shown by my attendants has actually been displayed by me because the doormen are my servitors. I take this to be an offense by myself, therefore I seek your forgiveness for the incident that has arisen. How Krishna himself is taking the blame of his own servitors for another devotee. That is Krishna. Krishna, he doesn't do injustice. He always gives justice. That how Krishna, he is taking the side of Jai Vijaya also. He's saying that my own servitors, they have committed this offense, but that offense is actually by me because I did not train my own servitors to respect and honor Brahmanas who are so dear to me. Namo Brahmana Devaya, Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. I am the benefactor of the Brahmanas and the cows, and I have not been able to teach this to my servitors. So actually this offense is committed by me. So Krishna is setting the standard. Lord Vishnu is setting the standard of how a proper leader should be. It's so beautiful. Text 5 says that a wrong act committed by a servant leads people in general to blame the master. So, how the Lord is setting standards, yad yad acharati shreshthas tat tad evitarojana, that whatever great men do, common men follow. So in text 26, after text 5 and between text 5 and text 26, the Kumaras, the four Kumaras, they are actually praying to the Lord. They actually start feeling very embarrassed when the Lord begging forgiveness from them, the Lord himself begging forgiveness. So the Kumaras, they said, my dear Lord, please don't beg forgiveness. Out of some anger, the curse came out of our mind, of our mouths, but please forgive us. You are the Supreme Lord. You are Swarat. You are the fully independent Lord. You are free to do whatever you want. You may, take away the curse. You may curse us. You may punish us. Whatever you want to do, you can do. We are your sold out servants, my Lord. The Kumaras prayed and submitted themselves to the Lord and his will. That's the beauty of a pure devotee also. So in text 26, the Lord replied, O Brahmanas, know that the punishment you inflicted on them was originally ordained by me. It is by my desire that this has happened. And therefore they will fall to a birth in a demoniac family. But they will be firmly united with me in thought through mental concentration, intensified by anger, and they will return to my presence shortly. How merciful Krishna is. Like Krishna is saying that, yes, they will be punished because what offense they did. It will be revealed again why also. There's another reason why Jaya and Vijaya, they had committed an offense even before. So, two offenses. So, Lord Vishnu says that, they have committed some offense, but they will be therefore born in a demoniac family, but they will be firmly always connected to me in their thought. And they will very soon come back to my presence. And he says, this is my plan. And the text 29, the Lord said to Jai Vijay, he says, depart from this place, but do not fear. All glory is unto you, my dear Jaya Vijay. Though I am capable of nullifying the curse of the Brahmanas, I will not do so. On the contrary, this curse has my approval. And text 30 says that this departure from Vaikuntha by both of you was foretold by Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune. She was very angry because when she left my abode and then returned, you had stopped her at the gate while I was sleeping. So this is also another pastime which is explained in detail in the Padma Puran. We'll not get into that, but the Jaya and Vijay had actually stopped Lakshmi Devi because Lord Narayan was sleeping inside, and they said the Lord is sleeping, so he should not be disturbed. But they should know who to stop and who not to stop. Lakshmi Devi is the personal consort of the Lord. So she got angry that why are you stopping me? And because she was angry, the Lord could not tolerate that also. So in this way, but at the same time, the Lord doesn't abandon or banish anyone for life or for all eternity. There never is there such a banishment. No. Krishna is so merciful. He told Jai Vijay that you go, but you will be in consciousness of me. You will be united with me very soon because I have this itching in my hands that I want to fight here in the spiritual world. Nobody wants to fight with me. So you are actually going down there so that I can come and fight with you and you can fulfill my desire of fighting with you. So my opponents have to be worthy. So only you, as my glorious servants, are my worthy opponents. So I can have a good fight with you. So, one act of the Supreme Lord has served many, 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 many purposes. So how Krishna, what Lakshmi Devi was angered and she was hurt by the, act of Jai Vijay. Then, Jai Vijay hurt also the four Kumaras and they cursed Jai Vijay. This was by the providence and the will of the Lord. But the Lord did not reject Jai Vijay also. Nor did he get angry upon the four Kumaras that why did you curse my servants? The Lord is so magnanimous. The Lord is, so generous to his devotees. He's so kind to his devotees that Krishna takes care of each and every devotee. He is the perfect judge. No injustice is done because Krishna is the well-wisher. He is Suridam. He is the greatest benefactor. He is the well-wisher of every living entity. That is Krishna. So how can Krishna even want any of his devotees to be hurt? Krishna will never do that. He will never do that. Krishna will take care of each and every devotee. So with this, we are concluding this particular chapter, that how Lord Brahma then tells the Devatas in the conclusion of this chapter that the heat that was piercing all of you is actually that of Jaya and Vijaya, who have now taken shelter in the womb of Diti as demons. And to fulfill the words of his devotee Kashyapa, the Lord will himself come and kill these two asuras, these two demons. That is the conclusion of chapter 16. So this concludes our session today. So we will now take any questions, comments, or reflections that you may have. And before that, we will also share with you the quiz questions for today's session. So we request all of you to please not comment in the live section, but please, after the session ends, please give your comments both on Facebook or on YouTube, and that way you can participate in the quiz. So here is the quiz questions. We have 6 questions today, which will be posted both on WhatsApp group or on the Facebook also, as well as in YouTube. So the first question is, what is the basic unit of Vedic time? Second question, what name did Lord Brahma give to Lord Shiva? Third question, what were the names of the first 10 sons of Brahma? Fourth question, what are the names of Swayambhuva Manu's daughters? Fifth question, how did Kashyapa glorify the position of a wife? Sixth question, which rasa did the Lord want to enjoy with Jaya and Vijaya? So please answer your questions. And now we'll take some questions over Facebook. No, over YouTube. Okay, from Radhika Kasturi Mataji, I believe. Okay. Question, difference between Shiva and Sadashiv. What does it mean to look at Atma in all persons? Okay, the difference between Shiva and Sadashiv, very nice. So Sadashiv is the eternal form of Lord Shiva who resides in the spiritual world. And Sadashiv, he manifests here in this material world as Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva's eternal manifestation and his representation and his existence in the spiritual world is in the form of Sadashiva. So that is what is the difference between Sadashiv and Shiv, and hope that answers your question. And what does it mean to look at Atma in all persons? Atma in all persons, it means that, to recognize everyone to be part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That everyone is connected to Krishna, every living entity, not just human beings, devoid of the bodily coverings that we may be in, whatever bodily covering we may be in, but the Atma, the soul, is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's what it means to look at everyone as Atma. Hope that answers your question. Kamal Gopika Mataji. Hare Krishna, is Hiranmaya and Garbhodaka Vishnu the same? Hiranmaya is actually known as the Virat Rupa. It is imaginary, made up of material elements. Now, imaginary, this is the word that Srila Prabhupada uses. And it also means, imaginary in this sense means temporary, because it is in the material, it is made up of material elements. And Garbhodakshai Vishnu is the Purusha avatar of Krishna having eternal form. So that is the difference. So Garbhodakshai Vishnu and Hiranmaya are two different personalities. Hope this answers your question, Kamal Gopika Mataji. Thank you very much. Ashesha Gaura Hari Prabhu, our dear God brother. What is the phenomena of one atom combined into 6? Okay, for this I will have to refer to the actual verse. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we have chapter 11 here, and it is said, Okay, so here we have that the Maitreya Muni does this by describing the paramanu or the atom, and describes time's basic unit as the amount of time that it takes for one atom to combine into six. That is the calculation that is given for, one atom to become six is the amount of time that is the time's basic unit that is taken. It is less than, some nanoseconds. If you want to calculate it based on our timeline, then it is based on, it is even less than a few nanoseconds. That's what it comes down to. So I hope this answers your question. This is, description of atomic time that, is described here in this chapter 11. So Shamala Gopika Mataji, Lord Shiva's abode is eternal. So Lord Shiva's devotee attained his abode. Is that considered as liberation? Please clarify. Kailash, although in this, it is actually in the cusp, it is between the material world and the Viraja river. After the Satya Loka, after Brahma's, the topmost planetary system, then comes Kailash, is explained. So Lord Shiva's abode, it is not mentioned to be eternal. It is not mentioned that it is eternal. During universal destruction, Lord Shiva's abode is, Lord Shiva is the one who is responsible for the universal dissolution. But, everyone enters back into the body of Mahavishnu at the time of the universal destruction. And, Lord Shiva also returns to Sadashiv, in the eternal form. And then when there is creation again, then everything comes forth. So those who go to the abode of Lord Shiva, the associates of Lord Shiva are actually said to be ghosts and goblins. So, we need to be careful about if we really want to go to Kailash. But yeah, Kailash, those are who are there in Kailash, they are followers of Lord Shiva, and those who follow Lord Shiva, devotees of Lord Shiva, actually, somehow or the other, you will see history shows itself that they are somehow or the other brought by Lord Shiva himself to the lotus feet of Krishna. So I hope this answers your question. If there's any other questions on Facebook or anything. All right. So today we will end here. We thank each and every one of you for participating and being, with us during these sessions. We will look forward to seeing you all tomorrow for a very interesting session going forward. Thank you all so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Vartaman Guru Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.